I modified my last program to use a slightly longer list of integers, and I saved this version of the program as python list slice.py. Once I run it, here is my program output as expected. The size of my list is 8 elements, and this is obtained by calling the length function. In this video, we're going to experiment with Python slices and using them to access list items. Let me show you an example. You already know that square bracket index notation allows to access particular item. But let's try something different this time. We can also use slice notation with square brackets. For example, if I use slice notation inside square brackets, literally 0:5, this yields the output like this. Square bracket slice access to list returns a new list of elements. The slice is from index 0 to 5, but 5 is a stop index, similar to a half-open range in math. Our slice 0 to 5 generates a sequence of index values 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5 is excluded because it's a stop value. List item selection by the slice is 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, and I used a new variable named portion of values because the slice of indices creates new list. This is very different from a single index. An integer index in square brackets simply provides access to a particular list item. Slice of indices, as you can see, returns a new list. Slice is very similar to a range. Let's use Antonia's help. Antonia, what is the difference between Python range and slice?
Python range is a series of numbers within a given range. It is an arithmetic sequence of numbers. Python range function creates a range and the function takes 3 parameters. Start parameter is the first number in the sequence. Stop parameter is the number which ends the sequence but itself is not included. The step parameter is the increment between each integer in the sequence. This prints output range 1 to 5 on the screen. However, we cannot use range to specify list index. If we try it like this, we get a type error, which tells us that list indices must be integers or slices, but not a range. With this information, we can now replace the range with a slice function. Run this program again, and we get this result. This time all is working well. Now a slice of indices 1, 2, 3, and 4 selected and returned a new list with the corresponding items 20, 30, 40, and 50, accordingly.
A lot of information. Good to know. Thanks, Antonia. We just need to remember to use a slice of indices when trying to select multiple items from a list. Okay, we still have a few interesting examples remaining in this video. Both start of the slice and end of the slice have default values. They are 0 and list length respectively. For example, in this program, both of the statements on lines 21 and 24 of my code returning the same result. Basically, my slicing from index 0 to the length of my list creates a copy of the original list. I repeat the default index when using slicing parameters inside square brackets is from index 0 to the length of the whole list, and the result returns an exact copy of the original list. You may be wondering why all of this is so important. Well, first of all, the lists are very common in Python programs. And second, both individual indices as well as slices of indices are standard when accessing the items in the list. Let's demonstrate how powerful and effective the slice access to the list can be. Remember, in the previous video, we talked about possibility of using negative indices to access list items. For example, here on line 27 of my program, instead of default slice parameters, I can try negative indices. I have minus length and -1 to specify my index slice. Okay, and if I execute this program, it prints one element short of the entire list. And this is because -1 is a stop parameter of the index slice, which is the index of the last item, and this is why the last item is not included in the result. This is fine. I simply wanted to show you how both slice parameters can be a negative number. At first, it appears simply like something exotic and not very practical to use negative indices. However, take a look at this code here, starting on line 32. I create a sequence of indices, and I want them to be -1, -2, -3, all the way through -8. -1 is easy. This is the starting value to include the last item in the original list. I take the length of my list, which is 8, add 1 to it, which equals 9, and make it negative. So this slice comes with parameters -1, -9, and -1. The last -1 is, of course, the increment parameter. Okay, you can see my last output displays the list of items in reversed order. Alright, this concludes our video presentations for Python list data type. In summary, we tried accessing list elements by numeric index and also by using various slice techniques, yielding new lists of specific items with the desired order of elements.